I want to get something very clear. What is termed as agartha or agartha is in the crust of the earth. This is not any way connected to what is termed the hollow earth. There is a major difference between hollow earth and the inner earth. A lot of people are under the misconception that the inner earth is the hollow earth, and that is not so. What you term as the Agarthan network is what is termed all of the cities that are located in the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust is about around 800 miles thick, and in the 800-mile area is 7 different civilizations. Now understand that the hollow of the planet is beyond the 800-mile crust. You have what is termed as the core of the Earth. The core of the Earth is not a molten core. It is a sun around 600 miles across, and it is more of a twilight in the hollow of the Earth, and it is a constant. A little bit varies between 73 to 74 degrees constant. So it is a subtropical paradise, is what it is, and that is the hollow of the Earth. Now, you had been taught in your what is called your science books that the Earth has a molten core, and that is a lie. It does not have a molten core. Where the lava comes from is in the crust of the Earth, not in what is termed the hollow of the planet. Your center of gravity is located 400 miles into the Earth's crust. Now, understand that at the 400-mile mark, which is the center of gravity, that is where the lava originates from. It does not originate from the core of the Earth. So, I wanted to get that very clear. Now, the hollow of the Earth, where the central sun is that is the inside portion of the shell of your planet, which is known as Terra Christa. Now, that is what you call, or Christa Terra, whichever you want to call it. Anyway, or you may call it Mother Earth. But the what is called the pressure, as you go down toward the 400-mile mark, increases until you get to the 400-mile mark. Afterwards, it becomes less and less and less. So, if you were to, whatever your weight be, once you acquire in the distance of 800 miles through the Earth's crust, your weight would only be 1/3 of what it is now presently on the surface. So you would be extremely light, and you would be able to jump higher, run faster without tiring, or swim in our oceans without becoming exhausted. And also, which is also quite a surprise to many peoples, that the people of the hollow earth have the ability and the knowingness that they can breathe underwater, breathe the oxygen in the water, and you can do the same, and you can do that on the surface as well.
We're
but
going to wear
the point
there, right?
What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Zorra. I apologize.
You are with your grandchildren. Anyway, all right.
Yeah,
Now,
go ahead.
Anyway, see that what stops you from breathing underwater on the surface is the fear that you have been programmed to accept. You have been programmed by what you call your educational facilities and things of this nature, that you cannot breathe underwater without use of oxygen tanks. And that is a lie. You can. You have the ability within you. Just eliminate the fear of drowning. Once you have done this, once you eliminate the fear of drowning, you will be able to breathe underwater without the use of oxygen tanks. And that is a fact. And it has been proven even during the time of what is called the Pearl Harbor invasion of, I will go into that a little in more detail in a moment. But when the sailors were having their vessels sink underneath them and they were in the water, many of them, their survival instinct took over, and they were able to breathe the oxygen in the water, and they did not drown. Ones that did drown were the ones that panicked, and when they panicked, of course, the programming of drowning, and they drowned. But in reality, if they became calm, as many of them did, they were simply able to intake the water into their lungs, and they were able to breathe the oxygen in the water. Now, that is a fact. It has been proven by your Navy SEALs. They have been trained to do this without the use of oxygen tanks, but they will not tell you that, but they have done this. And so you have the ability as well. So within your throat, you have what is called they are what called marks on either side of your throat, and there are 6 of them, 3 on each side. And what they are dormant gills. So when your instinct takes over, you are underwater, and your instinct, you become calm, and your instincts take over, survival instincts, then you begin to breathe underwater. And that is what you are able to do. You simply have to get rid of this programming of being taught that you will drown if you go underwater without holding your breath. And once people realize this, there have been many that have done this, and they are able to actually breathe underwater. My beloved Zorra, in an earlier time, existence, was able to do this and showed some people how to do it at an earlier time. So this is, it is very possible and a fact that you can breathe underwater. So, because you are amphibious beings, aquatic, if you will, and you also have brothers and sisters in the oceans that are known as mer people or the ocean people, and they are the mermaids and the mermen of the ocean. And there are very many of them now, presently, because of the what is called migration from the Sirius planet Sirius back to the Earth, and now they're in your oceans again once more. So this is a wondrous thing to be happening. So now we have that squared away as far as the Agarthan and the hollow earth being separate. Then we can go on further into more interesting, that is interesting in itself, but more interesting topics. Now, when it comes to the Lemurian crystal headbands, they are a device. They are a tool. And what they do is they bring your minds together, what is called your subconscious mind and what is called your conscious mind. And it allows you to not only communicate with your brothers and sisters of the stars, but it also allows you to focus your vision to the point to where you can see cloaked ships. Now, if you look out into the sky and you see lenticular clouds, those clouds are what is called, they are camouflaging ships that are within them. By wearing the headbands and allowing yourself to become calm into a meditative state, you can look out into the sky, onto a lenticular cloud, and you will see the actual object in the cloud. So you will be able to actually see the ship that is there. So, but you must really concentrate and then simply get rid of all of your what is called distractions, such as TV, such as your iPods, iPads, and what is called your computers, and simply become calm and be out in nature and look up. And you will see the ships, because if you have your headband on, it opens your third eye to a permanent state of mind while you are wearing it, and it will allow you to see the ships that are there. You can also use the headband to enable you, to assist you in what is termed as memory recognition, and such as what is called use the headbands for healing your body and to heal others. And so they are extremely powerful tools, and quite reasonable to acquire them. Now, understand, when you put together what is called the crystal and the silver disc and the copper, once they are all conjoined, then the headband becomes activated. Now, if you want to boost it, you simply walk outside, you look up toward the sun, and the light from the sun, energy from the sun, will help to fortify and boost the energizing of your headband. Now, once you have done this, you simply put it on and wear it whenever possible. If you're not out in public, if you want to be wearing it in public, do so. But if you feel a little conscientious about it, do not wear it in public. Wear it in the privacy of your home. If you are not, I say, brave enough to wear it in public, because you're going to get, many peoples are going to ask you what you're wearing, what does it do for you, and that will open up a conversation. And if you're not wanting to have a conversation, then of course do not wear your headband. But advice to you is to wear it at all times, because it helps you to become calm. It helps you to focus better. It helps you to recollect memories and that you once thought were gone. So it is a tool to help you to concentrate better, and also to be able to use your inbred powers that you're born with. You are born with the ability of telepathy, or telekinesis, or what is called psychokinesis, or clairvoyance. These abilities were born within you, and your government knows this, and your government is afraid of it. That is why there have been many children that have vanished or disappeared, and you had seen them on milk cartons in the past. They are not gone. They are simply in a testing facility underground by your government, and that is where they are. And so they are not gone. They are simply being observed and utilized. So your governments know of the powers that you possess, that you're born with. That is why they initiated what is called vaccinations or inoculations. What that does is to dumb down your abilities that you're born with, and it also shortens your lifespans. So you do not want to take inoculations or be forced to take them or take any vaccinations, because as a child, as a baby, you have an immune system that is far more greater than that of an adult. And of course, that is because your inbred powers that you're born with come out and you're able to utilize them. So, but what the vaccinations do and your mandatory inoculations, they dumb you down. They nullify your gifts that you're born with. And your government knows it. That is why they initiated this mandatory inoculation or vaccinations and things of this nature. That is the ruse that they use to tell you that it is good for you, prevent certain things. But that is not what it does. It does the opposite. It nullifies your gifts that you were given at birth. So, enough of that. Now, there's been the fires on the West Coast, Nevada, etc. What are the galactics doing about it? Well, they are observing, of course, and in some cases they are putting them out. There are some fires are what is called nature-made, by what is termed lightning strikes and things of that nature. And then there are some that are set purposely by those who enjoy watching fires. And then there is what is called some fires that are occurring that are uncovering entrances or exits to from the hollow earth, from the inner earth. And the fires are opening up those areas. So the fires will be contained. They will be dealt with very shortly, and so you will begin to see bluer skies and less smoke. So they are going to be dealt with as well. So now, when it comes to what is called your RV, or revaluation, as you term it, or what I term the global currency reset, what is the status? Why don't we have the RV yet? What?
Hey, Zorra?
Yes?
Well, I was wondering, before you get into that, because there's a few more things that involve that, but going back again to the extreme weathers, is this what we're going to be expecting for the rest of the summers? More fires or volcanoes?
No,
or hurricanes of such?
You're going to have.
Why are we having
such
extremes right now?
Well, you are coming into your what you call your hurricane season.
Right.
That is on a yearly basis that they do occur. So yes, you will be having those, and it will seem as if nothing is changing, but there is much changing. And
Zorra, so if you say there's much
yes.
changing, what does that mean? What is changing?
The weather. The weather is becoming more and more of a temperate climate. In other words, your winters are going to become less and less than what they had been, and such as extreme cold temperatures and things of this nature. Those are beginning to warm up. They are beginning to become more temperate. So there will be less snow this year than there was last year.
Oh, okay.
And
so
yes,
that is where we're at. The globe is trying to kind of balance itself out, but right now we're still feeling extreme, the opposite extreme heat.
Yes.
And hurricanes. So we just need to be aware of that. I have one, we have been doing a lot of meditations with Jared Rand, who is an extremely very, very wonderful light worker, in Star Warrior, etc., ambassador and all. And how is that impacting what we're doing as far as trying to minimize the fires or whatever else we do? How has that been helping? Because I know you can see, energetically, how much that energy of the meditations are working. Mm-hmm.
The energetic, the energies of the meditations, which are called global, mm-hmm. they are helping greatly to diminish the results of these fires. Now, understand that your government also uses what is called aircraft that have what is called laser weapons in the noses of them, and so they have the what is called which we have been also warning them about, that they are using them in the areas of some of the fires. They perpetrated them also. So they had been told by communications to stop their experimentation when it comes to using these laser weapons to eliminate certain of your population, certain peoples, undesirables, ones that are causing difficulty for the government. So they're using these weapons that are in these noses of these aircraft to eliminate said what is called radicals, if you will. So but they are not radicals. They are people that have become awakened, and they know that the governments are not what they should be, and they are speaking out against them. And that is why they are in peril of being eliminated by these laser beams that are mounted on the noses of aircraft. But they are also, yes.
So these, I don't mean to, I apologize for interrupting, but are you talking, is this in any way related to the fires or no? Or is this a separate thing?
Well, when they first started doing the laser light weaponry, they would target certain wilderness areas in order to test them. And the testing, it resulted in forest fire.
Okay.
So, yes, they have also been attributing to some fires. And of course, these are going to be curbed, if you will, and stopped, because the aeroships that we have in your skies that are on patrol, if they see something of this nature occurring, they simply contact the aircraft and tell them to stop it. And if they don't stop it, they simply turn them off. So,
thank you.
Malfunction. The laser begins to malfunction. So we in the Galactic Federation of Planets, we are also in the process of have been in the process of stopping your aircraft from spraying what you call harmful chemicals into the atmosphere, what you call chemtrails. And we are also transmitting what is called the ultimatums to your aircraft that are in the sky that start to spray. And they are told point blank to stop. And of course, when this communication comes across the communications of the aircraft, they simply stop what they're doing because they realize that they are not in control of the skies. We are. And they had better abide by our direction. So, because we know what the chemtrails consist of and what they are, how they are harmful to Terra Christa, so we are shutting them down. And also what is called the whaling vessels in the Antarctica from Japan have also been shut down. There's no more hunting of whales in the South Pacific toward what is called Antarctica. That has been totally shut off. They have no more what is called access to bring their vessels down toward the area where the whales are hunted. They are simply put up an invisible wall. When a ship goes in a certain direction that is not where there are whales, they simply run into an invisible wall, and they cannot pursue them. So we are doing that too. And we're also cleaning up your oceans. We have eliminated the plastic island that is floating in the Pacific. It is becoming less and less because it is being cleaned up. What is called your radiation is being filtered from your oceans as well. That is another thing that is taking place. As far as the hurricanes on the East Coast, there will be hurricanes, but you do have the ability to ward them off. I've told you once before how to do that, and but they have not been. The information has not been given out to the ones of authority to enable them to build these pyramids along your coastlines. That would keep out the effects of a hurricane or a tornado. And if they were to build these pyramids along your coastlines in about what is called a 50-mile to 25 to 50-mile intervals, they would create a barrier along the coastlines that would keep out your hurricanes and keep out your twisters and your tornadoes. So that is the answer to their dilemma. If they were to build these pyramids along the coastline, then they could totally and completely eliminate the threat of a hurricane entirely. And so that is the answer. So you need to get in contact with the authorities of the states along the coastline to let them know what the answer is. So, enough of that. And what is termed as getting back to what is called what is happening with Gesara, Nasara, and the Saint Germain Trust. Well, the Saint Germain Trust is in the process of being set up for distribution along with your Gesara and Nasara. Now, in the Gesara and Nasara, that is where at that point when they are announced, that will be the end of your IRS completely. It will be dissolved. And so that is also forthcoming. And what is called the situation with the government of Venezuela, we have dispatched a vessel that will be hovering over the capital of Venezuela very shortly. And it will decloak over the capital. And when it does, all hostilities shall cease. What is called?
Hey, Zorra?
Yes.
Yes, and what about the big RV in GCR?
I understand this. I am contemplating this. All right. So, getting to the point, going back to the RV revaluation, that is a slang term for your exchange. Your exchanges are taking place. I have said this before, and of course, the Tier 4s are beginning to also exchange. The Tier 1, 2, and 3, they are nearly complete. And of course, the Tier 4s are going to commence. So the holdup was between the Tier 3s and the what is called the Chinese elders. Some sort of controversy going on there, and so it slowed down the distribution of the exchanges with the Tier 3s. And now that has been resolved, and now what is coming forth is the Tier 4s, what you term as your internet groups and things of this nature. And so you should be, yes.
Well, you just said that some of the people in the Tier 4 have already exchanged. I thought that if you can't exchange, Tier 4s can't exchange unless people already have been invited or have the 800 numbers.
Well, some people have received what is called communications through by way of what is called emails to come forth and set up their what is called their exchanges. So, and they did not receive an 800 number. They simply received an email giving instruction to them to go and set up their appointments. But there's much controversy going on about what you call the 800 number, because there are those out there presently. There are some peoples that are sending forth 800 numbers that are not real, a counterfeit, if you will. And the counterfeit is causing some peoples to lose their currencies. So they are in the process of deciding whether they're going to have a 800 number given forth or simply an email that will be transmitted to the prospective websites and things of this nature for you to instructions on to do your exchanges, because of which is called the controversy that is going on with the counterfeit 800 numbers. People are being robbed of their currencies by them getting in contact with this 800 number. So there's some controversy going on there.
Hey, Zorra, excuse me, but I thought that if we don't have the 800 numbers, why even have the 800 numbers if the quantum financial system is present? And I thought that was going to be significant as far as we won't even have to worry about the 800 numbers, or we need to have the 800 numbers anyways. But as far as the safety of our currencies, it'll be through the quantum financial system so they are protected. Can you just kind of give us a little bit of a... Tell
indeed.
us how this is going to... Yes.
Well, the quantum, which is called the quantum exchange, taking place, the quantum financial system, is a system that cannot be hacked. It cannot be altered in any way, shape, or form. And they want to bring this about for the tier 4s. So it will go through without a hitch of any sort. So, and there will not be what is called an intervention of any Kabbalists to rob you of your blessing. So presently there is a determining factor about this counterfeit 800 number that is being transmitted out over the internet for people to make contact with this number and to set up an exchange center, to go to an exchange center associated with that counterfeit number, and it is causing much difficulty. So they are, what is the term? They are leery about giving forth any 800 numbers until they can corral or stop this counterfeit.
That, then if there's a controversy there, Zorra, when are we expecting the 800 numbers if already some of the people already have been exchanging? How is that? So what are we looking at in terms of a series of events that we're waiting for so that we finally get our 800 numbers? You had said that it is at any moment.
It is in any moment a waiting pattern, yes.
Right.
And that is, and it is in that status right now. But what I want also telling you is that the authorities are tracking down this 800 number, false 800 number, and exchange center to shut them down. And because they are not real, and they are causing much difficulty with people that are calling this 800 number and setting up a meeting to do an exchange, which is not to help you, but to rob you. So that must be dealt with first in order to have a safe exchange. So, and that is what they are working on at this present time.
Okay.
And the Galactics and the Galactics are involved in that too. So to curtail what is happening. So you may get what is called an 800, not an 800 number, but an email sent to your prospective internet groups that will have instruction on where you can go to exchange, and that would eliminate the counterfeit 800 number entirely, and which is the preferred thing to occur. But so that is what's transpiring presently, and you can still expect your exchanges to take place, and there will be appropriate instructions given in the email you shall receive that will give specific directions how to do it, where to go, and that will eliminate the counterfeiting completely.
Excuse me, Zorra. So if that's going to be how people receive it, so we have, everyone out there. We want you to continue to, on a daily basis or every other day, check out the Intel, Intel, Dinar, Dinar, Intel Dinar Chronicles, CHRONICLES .blog, spot.com. That particular website has continuous information coming out for all of us so that we can be aware of the exact time when we are going to RV. So keep an eye on that. As soon as we get an email, we will definitely still have an urgent call. I'll send out an email, not email, but I could send a newsletter anyways, a newsletter and probably a call at that particular time. So just be prepared.
Indeed.
That we are already on the train. The train has already moved. It's been moving slowly, but now it's really taking up speed. It's already completely done, but, for whatever reason, like a train or a car, we got to stop for gas, or, something else. I see an engine light come on, got to get that taken care of. Whatever it is. But we know we're going to get to our vacation spot, like, really, really soon. So, anyway, so be patient. Even though Zorra had said it was going to be done by the end of July, and, of course, now it's already August the 4th, know that a lot of things in terms of free will, little glitches that are happening because of 3D, 4D stuff that's going on that that holds it back somewhat. However, this is real. This is true. So just go ahead and continue to prepare and be excited for what is happening right now. This is only the beginning, just an iota of the beginning of what's yet to come. I know with Zorra and Raya and all of the galactics, they want you to be fully aware and conscious and move you up already into the higher dimensional levels of where you come from so that you will know who you are and live in peace and joy and, all that great stuff. So anyway, sorry about that, Zorra. I will let you go ahead and take it from here. Our call will be ending here very shortly, probably in the next 10 minutes. And I know you're saying, well, I've got some questions as well. And I think what we'll do is we will go ahead and have Q&A with Zorra midweek, probably, Thursday or Wednesday. I will send out an email for everyone. It'll only be Q&A, only. Except with invocation, it's only Q&A, and we'll do that for a couple of hours for all of you that didn't get a chance to ask a question. And the other thing I want to also mention is that if you are still looking for some more information, whether it's about the trust, whether it's about how to exchange, what forms, and all of that stuff, all of that already is on our newsletter. If you're not part of our newsletter, you're having some problems with it, please email or give us a call, and we'll see what we can do. Most of the time we can't get to you like that day or the next day sometimes because we are pretty busy. So please allow for that. And it's smooth sailing, folks. We're there already. All right, Zorra. I know you have a wonderful message.
I want to also.
Yeah, I think there's another question, Zorra. But go ahead. There was one more question before you say what you're going to say. There's another question about this. One of the questions that I had written out for Zorra. But go ahead. You were saying something.
Started to. Anyway.
Yes, go ahead. No. Go ahead with that, Zorra, please.
Let us see.
You were going to say something probably in relationship to the RV? Or the exchanges or the trusts, or what you were saying? You were going to say something.
Anyway, what was this other question you were speaking of?
Oh, okay. So the other question had to do with Michael of Nabadon. Nabadon is a higher being, apparently, that is here, and this is part of the Urantia book, the Truth book, and it talks about this light being who's come here on our earth and very, very similar to Jesus Sananda. And I'm wondering if that's still the same person that book is referring to, because that was a question. Who is Nebanon? Who is Christ Nebanon? Nebanon.
Who is Michael Nebanon?
Correct.
In the Urantia book.
Correct.
He has another name for Jesus Sananda.
See, that's what I thought, because his pictures look like Jesus Sananda.
Indeed.
So
yes.
It is. So it's the same person. Okay. All right. So that answers that question. So I have all the questions now that I had to talk about. So the rest of this platform now is yours, Zorra, and we would love to hear your message. And we would love to hear if there's anything else that you would like to impart to all of us before we end our call. Thank you, Zorra. We love you.
Indeed. Understand, peoples, as we have spoken before, that you're all gods and goddesses, and that is a fact. I'm going for the new people that are on the call, and I know there are a few. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and explain something to you that you're not aware of. If you pull out what you call your Bibles in the Old Testament, where it talks about the creation of man, and it spoke of when God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness," and then went on to talk about creation. But also, they left out a very important part of that scripture. And it goes like this. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and with our powers and abilities." The powers and abilities was taken out from your Bibles, so you would not know that you are gods and goddesses. And that was the doing of King James and other writers. They did not want you to realize that you are truly gods and goddesses. And the power that you possessed was great for healing and things of this nature. And that was purposely removed so you would not know that you are a lot more than what you that you truly are, gods and goddesses. And in the New Testament, in Matthew, when Jesus Sananda was talking to the disciples, he said, "Marvel not what I do, for greater shall you do if you only know that you can." Again, the part is left out, and then an addition was put in, "If you only believe in my name." The "in my name" was the words of King James, not Jesus. What is termed as the "in my name" portion was an addition that was put into the scripture, writing of the scripture, through the King James. During that time, as you understand, the king was considered God by the patrons and or subjects, and so his word was law. So consequently, he had to put forth a portion of himself into the scripture. And that's where the part comes in my name. So you are under the impression, false impression, that were the words of Jesus, and they are not. So, marvel not what I do, for greater shall you do if you only know that you can. That is the way it was meant to be. So now you know. And you also know that God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and with our powers and abilities," was also for you to understand and know is the true scripture. So you will now know that you are gods and you are goddesses. and in some cases both. But now, let us go on from there. When I was speaking of, when we were talking about Pearl Harbor, an event that took place in your history, that was, as it is perpetrated upon what is called your history books. But a portion of this was also wrong. The true happening or event that took place, what caused America to enter into the war of 1941. Now I'm going to break that down for you. What had happened was this. Your country, America, was in a Great Depression, and people were losing their homes and their what's called jobs and things of this nature, and because of the Depression. So your government, or Roosevelt at that time, knew that he had to involve America into the war, the World War. And he came and devised a plan to use another country or blame another country for your involvement. And that was the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Now, here is how that was perpetrated. On the big island of Hawaii, there is an airstrip. And on that airstrip, there were 30 American-made aircraft, what you call trainers. And they were painted to look like the Imperial Japanese Air Force. And they were launched on December 7th, 1941. 30 aircraft took off from the big island of Hawaii, came in from the northeast onto Pearl Harbor. At the time this was occurring, there was an Japanese observation aircraft taking pictures of the Pearl Harbor in high altitude. And they saw the aircrafts coming in from the northeast, from the big island. And they were perplexed because it had their symbols of their country on the wings. And they called their, what is called their fleet that was on maneuvers in the northwestern portion of the Pacific Ocean. And they contacted them and asked them, what are they doing? Why were they attacking Pearl Harbor? And they said, that is ludicrous. We are not attacking Pearl Harbor. We are out on maneuvers. And they said, no, there is a wave of aircraft that are bombing Pearl Harbor. They have the same symbols of our country, the rising sun. And so they knew they were going to be blamed for it anyway, so they sent in another wave of aircraft that came in from the northwest, from the direction of the Japanese fleet. So they had to finish what Roosevelt started. And that's how America became involved in the war. And they had to do this to create the, what is called the attack to outrage the nation, to rally into, to get involved in the war. And that is what brought an end to your depression in your country. It was all that went into the war effort and things of this nature. And that is what is transpired. That's what transpired in 1941. We know this because we were in high altitude or high orbit, observing the event, watching it occur. So that was what transpired at that time. Now, my beloved Raya was on my ship at that time, and we both observed what had transpired from the Big Island of Hawaii, and also the aircraft coming in from the west. So we saw both aircraft from both the two different directions. But that's what actually took place. Your own government involved America into the war purposely, and also brought in Japan as well. So it was Roosevelt that devised this plan. So, and that was quite perplexing for your peoples in Hawaii when they downed one of the aircraft that had come in from the Big Island of Hawaii, and they captured the pilot, and they discovered he was American-Japanese, of Japanese descent, and asked him why he was doing this, and he said he was under direct orders from the president to bomb the fleet. So that is what transpired at that time. I know that's very difficult for veterans to understand and believe it, but it is what happened. So that is part of my message, of course. And and that has also been perpetrated by your government from that point on, to involve America into these conflicts, such as the Korean War, such as what is called Vietnam, such as what is called Iraq, and all of these. Your own government brought down the towers, brought down what is called the Twin Towers, and it was perpetrated by using a holographic camera that was mounted on both sides of both towers, which is called on the top railing, and which holographic cameras that shot out a image of a jet hitting the towers. So, because what is called no debris of the aircrafts were found in the debris of the buildings. Same with what is called your Pentagon. The explosion at the Pentagon was not blown inward, but outward. There was no debris in the courtyard of what is called your Pentagon. Had it been struck by an aircraft, the debris would have been into the court area of the structure, and it was not. So, understand your own government perpetrated this in order to get you involved into the Iraq War. So, now you know the goings-on of your governments. So, this has been perpetrated down through the years in your history, have all been perpetrated by your government to involve other countries. And it was planned that way. So, now you know. And this will also be revealed to you when disclosure occurs. That will bring forth not just galactic intervention or what you intervening, but it will also expose all of the secrets that your government has been hiding from you. All of this information that I'm giving you now will be brought out as a reality, and it will be a confirmation that you already knew. So, that is what is transpiring there. Now, we of the Galactic Federation, we have also been doing what is termed as cleaning up your oceans, cleaning up your coastlines, things of this nature, vacuuming up the oil spills in the Gulf and in the Alaskan Gulf area, Valdez, and areas where there had been much drilling taking place along the Gulf coastline and the Texas coastline and what is termed the Carolinas. And so we have also been very busily taking care of those matters as well. by doing what is termed as cleaning up the pollution along your coastlines. And this we are doing. It began by putting up these square boxes that were 6 foot square, and they were placed on the beaches, and you had what is called a crane that came onto the beach and tried to move one of these objects, and found that they could not do it. And along comes this child, and she is walking, and she simply puts her hand upon one of the structures and moves it with one hand away, off to the side, out of her way, and continues on her walk. Now, this was very perplexing for the people who had done this painstaking.
Let me help you.
What?
You hold down. Zorra, we only have like 15 seconds left.
Well, let me give what is for a quick healing pulse.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Receive.
We receive. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We receive. Thank you, Zorra. Have yourself a wondrous, glorious, and loving day, everyone. We'll talk to you.
Indeed, and we shall talk with you midweek.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. One of my grandkids. We'll talk later.
I know that.
Bye. Okay, thank you. Thank you for today. We love you, and
Indeed.
Thank you for watching over us all the time. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Indeed.